Oi, you know what time it is? You're tuned in listening to Dry That Aussie Metal Guy. Make sure to hit that like and subscribe button so you don't miss any of his content when it drops. And remember, stay brutal, you mad dogs. Roof!
G'day, how the bloody hell are you all going? This is Dry That Aussie Metal Guy here with Crank.com and with that metalstation.com. So today, tonight, wherever you are in the world, it's a great pleasure that I'm getting to have a chat with Crucifix of Satanic Tea Co. Cheers for joining me, mate.
No, thanks so much for having me. I super appreciate it.
No, I know we're here to talk about your music, man, but when I had this sent over, I'm like, dude, as I was just saying before we went on camera, I have heard of Satanic Tea Co. It is one and the same. It is the business, the merch, and tea company now side of things, and a band as well. But can you tell me first off how kind of all this began? When did Satanic Tea Company began? Because I think it was a merch. Did you start selling merch and then going to tea? Just tell us all about the beginning of it all, my friend.
Yeah, totally. So 2017 is, I guess, when we first launched the company. Pretty much at the time, I was singing in a band that was touring pretty often. I was working for a touring band selling merch. So I was kind of just like trying to find like a side hustle to like make a little extra money on the side. We were pretty much started selling t-shirts as like black metal themes, I guess, like black craft, I guess, kind of looking clothing. And the tea was kind of the side bit of it, I guess. Like it wasn't really, I just wanted to have like a caffeinated product on the side. It wasn't like I didn't put a lot of thought at the beginning into the tea. I just put it in black bags because we were pretty much going by Pitch Black North at the time. Pretty pretty quickly on, everyone was not very interested in the t-shirts we were designing. They were like more interested in the tea and the black bags. Pretty much a lot of people referred to us like on social media as like that Satanic Tea Company. So we just kind of like just no one's buying the t-shirts. People really only care about this tea we're selling. Like people are already calling us Satanic Tea Co. Like let's just pivot into that, and that's kind of like how the ball got rolling into that. Just started like doing like just because like we're based in music, roots are music, playing in bands my whole life. We wanted to collab with bands. We started collabing with bands, and I feel like that's how the word got out initially about Satanic Tea Co. Is like a lot through collaborations with bands like Midnight and Cradle of Filth and stuff were like the first few bands that like gave us a chance to work with us early on.
Yeah, well, tell us some more about those collaborations because you have worked. I've seen here you have collaborated with some killer bands like Cradle of Filth, Bloodbath, Twin Temple. I'm loving the stuff they're bringing out as well, and then Cryptopsy, of course, on the latest track, which we'll get into a little bit later. But tell us a little bit about some of these collaborations you've worked with and kind of how that all came about.
Totally, yeah. So like, I feel like it pretty much just started with like me sending DMs to people I liked on Instagram, just being like, hey, like I have this company, I'd love to like make a limited edition like tailored blend for your band. Figure out like a money thing or something. Like I don't know, I just want to like work with you guys. Like we weren't really making like anything at the time at all. So like Midnight was the first band, because I saw a meme, which kind of like sparked the whole thing. It was like a meme of the Queen of England, and someone just put Satanic Royal Tea because she was drinking tea, and it was like someone had painted corpse paint on the Queen. So I just kind of like forwarded that meme to the band. I was like, we could make this a real thing. Like, I have a Satanic Tea Company. We could make it, call it Satanic Royalty, and that was like how that started. And yeah, like pretty much like a lot of the collabs are pretty much just me sending like a 2 paragraph like message, asking if they'd want to collab, or like a lot of people don't get back to you, which is totally understandable.
Yeah.
It's like just cold reaching out to people you don't know and don't know you or anything about you. But now it's kind of snowballed. I feel like a lot of people have heard about us, especially through the collab. So now either we'll reach out to a band or bands will reach out to us, or merch managers or their band managers will reach out to us, and they kind of like work out things that way. It's the way it's been lately.
Yeah, well, it's ethically sourced as well, and it's some great looking tea over there. You did mention pitchblacknorth.com as well. You still got some t-shirts and a whole lot of cool tea up there. Raised Raspberry Gut Sore, Septic Savior, man. That's one of the tracks off the new album as well. Tell me about that track. I'm going to dive straight into that one because I've been lucky enough to be cranking it. People, it doesn't come out until 27th September, so you all bloody got to wait. But I've really been enjoying it, my friend.
Oh, nice. I'm glad you got a copy of it. Oh yeah, so Septic Savior. That was originally going to be the title of the album. We switched it to something else, but yeah, it's like I grew up like in a super like religious home, like really strict Christian parents. They a lot of my mom was very Catholic. My dad was non-denominational, so it's kind of weird that they were together. I guess there's a lot of like crossing of belief systems. So like initially, the way I was brought up was Catholic until I was in grade like 4. Then my dad pretty much put his foot down and said, "I don't want this faith to be like how my kids are being raised." He took us out of Catholic school, and then we went to a Christian school. So like a lot of the cracks in my belief system started there. So it's just like everything I've been doing up until now has been a sin. Like praying to Mary, the Rosary, like all that is like a sin, I guess. But all those people were kind of telling me that's how you get into heaven. Now this new set of people are telling me you just need to like accept Jesus and like there's no one else, just God. So like a lot of like just like my struggles with what what form of Christianity I was supposed to be in early on, I feel like is like the general theme of like Septic Savior. It all just turned into a shit thing that led it like a lot of toxic happenings in our family growing up, very unhealthy relationships, and it all kind of stemmed from this Christ figure, which was the same guy on both sides, but together it just clashed with my parents and clashed with like the way I was brought up, I guess, in the two sets of Catholic and non-denominational. I guess would be like the general way of the way my dad was seeing things. That's the root of the song.
Yeah, so how did you? So this definitely would have impacted you in the early days with the heavy metal when you first discovered heavy metal. Tell me a little bit about that.
Yeah, so like I was listening to a lot of like Blink-182, and like I think like that was like the edgiest shit I was listening to, like 11 years old. I remember my youth pastor at the time gave me it was like a CD of Under Oath. It was like the Under Oath, When the Sun Sleeps or whatever that album is. It's like before like the really big commercial hit. But at the time, like I'd never heard like screaming and music like that, or like, but they were like a Christian band, and I was still like all about like being a good Christian boy
Yeah,
to my parents and like
Under Oath,
church
Demon
and
Hunter.
everything.
Yeah.
Yeah, totally. So like that kind of like I really liked that. It kind of like took a while to get used to, but he just like, oh, this is too crazy for me. You like punk and all that stuff, so like you could just have it. Little did he know that that would be like my first inkling into like definitely like taking a far left step away from all of that. And then there was actually a girl in my Christian school who was like really into just Christian metal, and there was like no one else really into that. And she was in my older sister's class, and I think she heard from my sister that I was like I had this CD, and she like trying to like put me on to like Norma Jean, Becoming the Archetype, Demon Hunter, Cyanide Beach, like all these like As Lay Dying, like all these like heavy metal Christian acts. So, like I feel like Christian metal was like definitely like my segue into like crazier stuff, which was like ended up being like just stuff I found on like MySpace grind, like early deathcore and like Suicide Silence and Job for a Cowboy. I think that was like a really turning point into like just finding better secular music.
Yeah, that's it. And tell me a little bit more about that, discovering death metal, because you're obviously a huge fan of death and black metal. I was the same. I started out with a kind of a bit more of the easier metal and the mellow metal. It just kind of fucking snowballed and progressed. And I find like black and death metal is like a good black coffee, mate. It gets better. You know what I mean? The blacker it is.
Totally, yeah. Like at first it was definitely like just like weird MySpace solo projects. So something I was just finding like that's just like the rabbit hole I ended up going on. Like I don't know if in Australia you had like Nexopia. It was like kind of like Instagram, but I think it was like a Canadian-based social media platform.
Yep.
So people would kind of like just like post on their page, just like instead of like a bio, like these are just the bands I like. If you like, you should like follow me or whatever. So just like looking at bands on this, I think someone must have had like I think it was like Gutted with Broken Glass or something. It was just like just like stupid like computer drums and like crazy guitar and like just really grindy solo man project, which kind of just like led me on to like I guess just like deathcore. I think was like the first step into it, which was like
Yep.
Knights of the Abyss, Alicia, The Irish Front, early Job for a Cowboy, early Suicide Silence were like a lot of the bands that were like popping off for me that I was like
Yeah.
really into at the time. And then just like kind of seeing like, oh, who are these bands' influences? And then you get into like Corpse and Death, Cryptopsy, and like just kind of like discovering like, oh, there's so many layers that I don't even understand it as like a child, but like thinking like even at that time, I think I was like 13 years old. I thought like if just like metalcore, anything with screaming was death metal. It's like I
Yeah.
listen to death metal. Then you tell someone who listens to death metal, it's like, what do you listen to? It's like, oh, it's a band called Dead Poetic. They're like, you don't listen to death metal. I'm like, oh, okay, okay. Yeah, so yeah, that's like kind of like how I got introduced. Like I owe a lot to like the influence to like MySpace for sure.
Yeah, I was in a country town, so there was a lot of like passing music between us. And when you go up to your mates, you'd hear something new. I remember early on when I was really young, getting into heavy metal, I was playing bands like Pantera, Metallica, you know, the usual suspect. First time I heard Deicide and Cradle of Filth, I was like, "What the fuck is this?" It blew my mind. Now they're like Cradle of Filth is fucking them and Behemoth all time, one of my all time favorite black metal bands. Both of them bands as well, but it definitely
Yeah,
shows the more you listen to it. And it's funny when you mention that point, people calling like anything that screams like screamo or death metal. It's like, dude, wait up. I'll fucking put your seatbelt on. I'll play you some heavy shit if
yeah,
you think this is bloody heavy. Yeah.
no, totally.
So what was it like early on with the company? You go along to shows and slinging merch. It would have been good as well to meet and make lots of contacts to what would become the band side of things as well.
Oh yeah, so like I definitely um doing collaborations with the bands and just kind of like I was in bands before, like we toured. I didn't really like just like but like I didn't really know much about like the music business side
Okay.
of things. Like I never really our band never had a manager or like booking agent. We did it was all just like doing it ourselves. So just like kind of talking to these people and like publicity people and like definitely like you get it's kind of like I guess just like yeah, I know what you're talking about with the tea stuff, but like just kind of like faking it till you make it. I guess was like a lot of it, especially like I think dealing with the Cradle of Filth collab because like I DM'd Danny and it was like 3 months later he emailed me back. He's like, "Yep, my manager says we should do this," and like he was like pretty much just like dealing with the Cradle of Filth manager, then like their merch manager, and then all these like layers of people that I didn't think was like
Yeah.
needed to just like put out a tea, but I guess it did. So it was kind of nice just to like do that early on to like learn about different aspects of the music business itself before like launching the band, I suppose. But like the real interest in like creating the band through collabs was I don't know if you know Beelzebubs. It's like
Yep.
the yeah, Beelzebubs. JP Enum is like a comic artist.
Yeah.
He was they were the second collab we ever did, and like I love Death Clock, and stuff like that, and just like the idea of taking like something that like a comic book and like that is about a band, and turning it into like a real band that was meant to play festivals and stuff before COVID, unfortunately and stuff. And then Death Clock, a cartoon band, but like they play shows and tour technically as Death Clock. So I was just like, one day I'd like love to just. This is like in 2019. I'm thinking about this. Like one day, like I would love to just like make a band from this somehow. Like
Yeah.
I'm already like portraying this person as Crucifix. Like I feel like I could do something with this at some point in time. And then yeah, like 4 years later, here we are, I guess, like trying to like actually like launch this thing. At first was just like going to be an online thing, but now we have like real people to
Yeah.
play the music and like play some shows this April.
Yeah, I did see you got some shows in April. You got Korn on there, Oro, Zod, Belial. I hope I got them right. Did I fuck it up at all or close enough?
Oh no, yeah, that's right.
Yeah. So when did it kind of you go? You said around 2019. What was it like, kind of getting that? You said you're obviously in bands before, so you know, stranger to this side of things. But what was it like getting a band together as part of the company as well, and kind of pushing that forward? It definitely would have helped having that springboard with the company already, and already that character Crucifix, and mixing that all in as well.
Oh yeah, it was like a lot easier than I thought it would be at first, because like dealing with just like issues with like being in a band before. I think it was like a lot of like people with really strong opinions on what they thought the band would be. Like obviously the band is like a really collaborative effort, and that's I love that. But like from my experience with like the last band when we broke up, it was just like everyone had different ideas of what they wanted. And then in the end, it was just like we should just like take a step back from this and maybe stop. And it ended up just being us just not playing music anymore. So like with this, I already had like a vision of what I wanted it to be. It was just like, this is what it is. This is what it's going to be. This is what I want it to be like. If you want to be part of it, like, love to have you. But this is what you're signing on to. And it was like, just having that like clear cut at the beginning. I feel like people were just down. The people I asked, anyways, were just down to do it. Fortunately, yeah, we were working with some really good people. Scott, who is the producer, has been like a friend of mine for like years and years. So he was down, and it just I think everyone just signing on to a project as opposed to like creating something totally brand new without like joining the ideas together. It was like a little easier for people to like put their head around at first with joining it, but like it was easier than I expected it to be for sure.
Yeah, exactly. Like you said, you already had that springboard and that vision for what you were going to do with this. The Crucifix was already there. The company was already rolling. You already had a clear vision. So when Blood Drenched Torture Chamber dropped in May of 2022, it did receive quite a fair bit of airplay and coverage as well, not only because of what you're doing, but because you know how to work the social media a little bit better because you've been doing it the last few years with the Satanic Tea Company.
Totally, yeah. Social media has definitely like been a crucial thing for us. It's like Instagram and TikTok. Like I don't know if like a lot of the opportunities we would have had would have been there without like just like trying to promote ourselves and like sell some tea online and like just like developing, I guess, like a more in-depth uh vision for people who are like watching, trying to like know what we're about. So I think people like who are on the social media like and like see they know who I am, they know what we're about, and like hopefully they like the music too because they already like the tea.
Yeah.
And like it's already metal based, so like there's like that connection already with a lot of the people on there.
Yeah, definitely. And the next track single that you come out there did feature Matt, vocalist for none other than Cryptopsy. Tell us about that track and what it's like working with him.
Oh yeah, it was awesome. Like before we did the track, um I saw that his podcast, I think, had followed us on Instagram, Box and Hops. Um, yeah, Box and Hops followed us, and I was just like, I'm pretty sure this is Matt from Cryptopsy. So it's like I had to like send a message to him, and we just kind of like hit it off right away. Like Matt's a super fucking nice dude. Um, we just started chatting, and then I just like kind of threw out like we should totally do like a tea collab sometime. And I guess he was already talking to because he does like tons of beer collabs with his
Yep.
Vox and Hops, of course, podcast. So like he was already talking to our friends from New Level Brewing here in Calgary about doing a beer collab. He was like, we should do it a three-way. We should do a three-way collab between us, Cryptopsy, and New Level Brewing. So we ended up doing a Cryptopsy tea beer sour, and then the tea that we used to make the beer, we like sold separately as well.
Yeah, nice.
So that's kind of like how the relationship started. I think we did like a podcast interview on his podcast, and like everyone was drinking because it's box and hops. So I'm like, I'm pretty like, I like it was like a just like I think it's like they do it once a month. It's just like everyone just like hangs out, like a lot of their like really loyal viewers and stuff. They all hang out
Yep.
on the podcast and chat with like the random guests, and I was one of the guests. And then after like I was pretty like tipsy, I just sent him a message like, "Yo, we should sing on like a track," and he just down right away. And I think like I already had the track ready to go. Sent it the song. It was like a month later. He sent it back, and I was like, "We got it."
Yeah, the guys from the Cryptopsy do seem super cool as well, and they do seem to give a lot back to the Canadian metal scene as well. I think it's Chris Donaldson. I think I see him on just producing just about every second bloody album that is coming out of Canada at the moment. So
Totally, yeah,
extremely hard-working band and great bunch of guys as well. I do want to touch, man, since you sell merch and that, and while we're talking, man, I noticed a lot lately, fucking venues taking merch cuts, man. It really kind of pisses me off as well as a huge supporter of the scene, knowing how much that you've got all these digital companies already taken out of fucking a chunk. You pretty
yeah,
well Spotify, you're pretty well just going, here you go, take my music for fuck all, getting 0.11 of a fucking cent per
yeah.
stream, which is like, yeah, it's great to get your music out there, people, but you also got to buy albums as well. Spotify is like just taking music, and yes, it's good to get your music out there, and no matter how people are listening, you're an artist. It's great that people are ingesting your music and listening to it, but it's also be great when people are ingesting the tea, the coffee, the merch, and actually supporting the bands going forward. And when I see venue cuts wanting to fucking take a cut of the merch as it is, bands aren't making fuck all. You mentioned before, bands aren't making fuck all out of this anyway, dude. When venues start taking out these big merch cuts, it really does hit the bands hard, and it's hardly even worth playing some of these shows. And it is really going to impact the scene pretty hard, and the bands really in general. If venues keep doing this, it just pisses me off, kind of.
No, yeah. It's like I thought about it like up until like you hear, yeah, you like I feel like over the course of the last couple of years, like you'd hear like little stories here and there. But yeah, there's like a lot of the media attention over the past like few months. It just like
It's become
really makes
pretty,
you
pretty
think.
prevalent. Yeah.
No, yeah, it's just like I can't even believe like how much like all the details, like they hire a special person to sell the merch. They have to get paid. They probably not going to do a good job to sell your merch
Yeah.
because they don't give a fuck. They get paid either way. So it's like it's pretty wild scenario, and it's like I don't see it being like something that can continue like forever. Like bands are already protested by not selling merch, so it's like I'm not sure why bands don't get a cut of the alcohol sales. Like at the end
Yeah,
of the day, it just
exactly.
seems
I've
like
worked hospitality. I've worked hospitality for years, and I've seen how many people bringing a band generates. You know, and bar sales go up. The venue was making. If they didn't have that band in there, they wouldn't be making fuck all for that night. So they're making all
yeah,
this money off, like you said, beverage sales, and then they're expecting a cut of the door, and then the merch, and then fucking everything else, and then the band's like still got to be able to make enough money for petrol, and like it's not what everybody thinks behind the scenes. You know what I mean?
no, totally. Like when big bands like Dark Throne and stuff like that are like saying they don't make any money with their merch on tour. Like some days it's just like it's got to make you think like what's like how do you where does the money come from then? Like how can you even like how could that be like something you can like really count on day after day if you're like there's like so many hands in your pockets. Yeah, it's pretty wild. I'm
Yeah.
glad like it's getting the attention it's getting, so like hopefully something can change down the line. Like I'm not sure what that thing will be, but like hopefully there's like will be an effort to change that because it's out of control. It's like kind of it's like really gross.
And the good thing about the metalheads, we will go over and we will buy stuff like from your site. I'm going to mention again, pitchblacknorth.com. Go over there, buy some tea, some coffee. I want to talk about the latest album, EP. It is the debut EP, does come out on the 27th of September. A Celestial Beating, man. Tell me all about it. What was it like making this album?
Oh yeah, it was awesome. Like Blood Drenched Torture Chamber, we worked with a different producer, Ray. Um but yeah, I reconnected with like a really old friend, Scott. We tried to make some music during COVID that just didn't pan out. We just like kind of lost touch. Like COVID was pretty up and down for like quite a few, I guess like years. But yeah, I guess like over a bit a year ago, we really reconnected. He just talked about like really wanting to launch this project. Um, he like, yeah, he had like some of these songs that he was just like didn't know what to do with them, and we just kind of like chatted about how I wanted to release the EP eventually. So he's pretty much Scott is like pretty much like the big mastermind behind like the music in general. Like I told him like the genre. He was already a death metal musician, um, and that's how pretty much that went forward. He had a lot of the drum parts written like via I don't know what program you use to like program drums. But luckily, like he knew two drummers in like two really awesome bands. Like one drummer was from Deatherus. It's like a fantastic thrash metal band from here in Calgary, like very Demolition Hammer esque. And then another drummer, Colton or Belial, who ends up joining the band. Um, they both tracked drums for the record, which was like kind of like an interesting experience having two drummers track the drums for half of half. But yeah, very fortunate to have like the really great um, artist on that. And Scott performed all the guitar and bass for the recording. Um, we wanted to have more songs, but there's like quite a few more songs that we are writing, but I think we're going to try and like put out a full length down the line.
Yep.
Yeah, it's just like this the themes of a celestial being. It's like a lot of like early childhood um, wrestling with like religious and like almost cult like environment that I was in growing up. Like a lot of intense religious stuff was happening growing up. Uh, yeah, like pretty much every single song is based around that.
Yeah, definitely, definitely. I'm from starting out with a Purgatory Precursor. So tell us about that opening track, man.
Purgatory Precursor is pretty much just like it's like an intro. Essentially, it's like a really great movie from here. Skinamarink
Yep.
came out. Yeah, so like it's an Edmonton film. Like we're from Calgary. They filmed it in, so it's like Alberta. I feel like it's fine. We use a sample at the end. It's like everyone can like just wait till it comes out to hear what
Sets the
sample we
tone for
use.
sure of what's about to blast you, as we mentioned, the
No,
Savior
totally.
track.
Yeah, so like a lot of like I feel like the themes of just like in Skinamarink as well, like just being like kind of like alone as a child. Um, like a lot of that feeling, like that, like kind of like when's it gonna happen? Kind of like pop out jump scares in that movie, like is kind of like yeah, definitely just like to set the tone for the rest of the album, which I feel like is pretty full throttle.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, that Septic Savior we talked about.
Shit Karma's
It
the next
goes,
one.
which is yeah, Shit Karma is probably like the most personal song on the record. I guess like people can read the lyrics when it comes out, but it's
Yeah.
just like a lot of just trying to like escape like a very like abusive situation um that's like based in religion or like people act um a certain way because they think they're being uh true and like good, but really they're being like maybe the most fucked up horrendous person they could possibly be and like really destroying everyone around them. So it's like kind of just like them receiving their shit karma at the end of the day.
Yeah, like I see those same sort of people. They do go into whatever establishment they're in. They go in there the one day of the week, and then they're an absolute cunt for the rest of the week, and they think it absolves them from it. So, perfect track. Tell us about the Chemical Paradise, man.
Oh yeah, Chemical Paradise was kind of like it was like interlude like MIDI keyboard type track. It's like actually like a big sample of like someone who's taking ecstasy in like the 70s for the US government. There's like his like actual um is just like him on ecstasy, just like telling him the doctor like how it feels, and you can just hear like the. I was really drawn to the sample because you can just like really hear like him like just being torn in like different directions of like it's so beautiful, but then like you could tell there's something darker, um, darker and deeper that's kind of pulling him. He doesn't really know how to express how he feels in the end, so I feel like that really just worked together with like the general themes of like um ever the rest of the album, like feeling the way I did early on, especially like dealing with what do I do if I don't think I should be doing this Christian thing, but it's the only thing I know, sort of thing.
Oh yeah, totally get it. I was they find a lot of people like us that are atheists and all that kind of shit, or you know, it's because we've actually been and read the Bible. Maybe some of you people read the fucking Bible, and I always call it a storybook. No offense to all you people, if it makes you a better person, but that's how I've always put it.
Totally.
Dissection of Christ. Tell us about that track, man.
The Dissection of Christ, I feel like, is like the most fun. I guess the last two are probably like they're like less serious, more fun, type themes. Like it's like if people who crucified Christ, they really just wanted to like know what the appeal was in Christ. They wanted to find God. They wanted to find his powers, I guess. Like what made him so likable to all these people. Like so they take him off the cross. They open him up, and they're trying to find God in his guts, and that's like the gist of Dissection of Christ.
God is within. God is within.
Yeah.
And we did talk about a Celestial Beating, really killer closer track on the EP as well.
Awesome, thank you. Yeah, Celestial Beating is also just like I think it was based off a T-shirt I saw, where just like it was like a dude with a yodeling type dude just like climbing a mountain. Or it's like today is a good day to climb up to heaven and kill God. It's like what if it was just like a video game type scenario where you just like could go be superhuman, just like go kick the shit out of God for all the stupid shit that people like do in his name. Just like, you know what, you have this coming, I think.
Yeah, your Facebook page is absolute gold for memes on that as well. I have to compliment you on that. Absolute gold. The album EP, does come out 27th September. Best place people can head along and support you is pitchblacknorth.com, yeah?
Satanic has like pretty much concert tickets, merch, all the press, like social media. So yeah, satanicteaco.com is definitely the best.
Okay, and that's the best one. Killer. There we go. And as we mentioned up on all the socials, Crucifix, any last words, shout outs, thank yous, or anything else you'd like to add in there I may have forgotten?
Oh yeah, like thank you so much for having me. Super appreciate it. Like everyone can check us out on Spotify or YouTube or whatever they choose to listen to music for. And if you like tea, if you like Satan, you can definitely check out our stuff at satanicteaco.com. And yeah, I just like really appreciate you having me on.
Absolute pleasure. Celestial Beating, grab yourself some nice tea and some bickies and kick back and crank the hell out of this album. The neighbours are going to appreciate it as well. Cheers, mate.
Cheers. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Oi, you're tuned in to Jai, that Aussie metal guy, so make sure to hit that like and subscribe button so you don't miss any of his sick content. And remember, stay brutal, you legend.